Hey, so this week I thought I would talk about what videos are appropriate for, like, should we do live shoot, should we do animated, should we do whiteboard, should we do comic book, what sort of video should we do and why, right? So the first thing I would say is, number one, you got to think about the prospect experience. What's happening on their side? Now that's a theme that runs throughout probably anything that Richter does or anything that I talk about or anything like that is what about that prospect experience? So let's take, for example, the front end of things. When you're first reaching out, that first piece of communication, that first video going forward, right? So you talk about they want to see a time signature that's short because they're not interested yet. You have to get them interested, and to get them interested, you have to give them the best possible experience from their viewpoint to get them interested. So to do that, you want to be very sensitive of their time, right? So the first video that you reach out to should probably be 1 minute or less. And then the next thing to think about is, right, do we want to show a person on screen yet? Should we be doing animation, right? What should we be doing with this thing, right? And you can even think about whiteboard, you can think about comic book. Now here's the thing, here's from my viewpoint. Comic book is fun, but that's not how I'm going to pique your interest. Whiteboard, the hand drawing on the screen, all that kind of stuff is cool, but that's better for explaining things if you're going to use it at all. Live person on a screen, that's excellent, but that's for later in the cycle of action when you're trying to build confidence, because what we're trying to do at the beginning is just give them one clean, right to the heart of the matter, crisp communication that really gets you got to get their interest up. So we're going to go animated at the front. We're going to go 1 minute or less, and we're going to keep it super, super crisp, and we're going to keep it right to the point. We're not going to go deep explanation or anything like that. So when they see that thing, they go, 1 minute or 59 seconds, sure, I'll click play on that. All right, click, right. And then another little note, by the way, another little pro tip is when you're sharing video, share it with a YouTube link, by and large. Don't necessarily share a link that goes to your website as the initial thing, because look, every person on the planet, they see a YouTube link, they're going to click on a YouTube link. You say YouTube, they go click on a YouTube link, no problem. But you go something else and it's more like, oh, you're trying to sell me, or you're trying to direct me to your website, or you're trying to, don't control me, get off of me, that sort of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with control, but whatever, most people have an allergy to it, so you just go with the YouTube link and they go, oh sure, I'll click on a YouTube link. Don't worry about, like, some companies have firewalls on YouTube and this, that, and the other thing. Don't worry about that. Just go with the YouTube link. Okay, good. Now, video number one, right? When we're going to do a sequence approach and we're the best possible client experience, we want animated. Number two, now you're going to get into explanation. You're going to get into talking about a deeper look at your product. You can go longer with this, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. Please don't go over 2 minutes. That's where you want to really cut it off, 2 minutes. Now this, you can go whiteboard. My own observation is whiteboard is kind of phasing out a little bit, and we're really going towards animation and even keeping it simple, going down to photos and animation and things like that. So you can go, I would go that. You could go whiteboard here because you can really show a lot and show concepts with whiteboard, but I would probably steer towards animation, stick with that, right? So, and then the next one you want to do in sequence is you want to do now you're going to handle reservations and objections and concerns and things like that. Again, don't go people necessarily at this case yet. We're going to save that for later. We're going to save live shoot for later, because here's the thing, when objections are being handled, right? When you have a person doing it, when you have a live person doing it and talking, then it feels more like they're being sold. And it's not that people shouldn't be sold, and it's not that we can't sell people. That's important, and it should be done. But that feeling that comes across of, you're trying to convince me of something, right? That's not what we want to communicate. We're not trying to go, you're trying to convince me of something. So we want to stick in towards animation again. We're still in animation through most of the cycle, and we want to keep that going, right, until, and so we want to handle reservations and objections with animation. Keep it super simple, a very nice voiceover, and just handle. Now, when you're in the later stages of selling, that's when you bring out the heavies. You bring out your C-level execs. You put them on camera. You get them talking about with confidence about your company, Or, or, and actually, you're doing live testimonial. You're bringing out your biggest success stories with clients. You're putting them on camera, asking them to be on camera, talk about the experience with you. And you can get this done at a convention. You can get this done at a conference. You can get this done at a trade show. You can you can send us to their office. You can bring them to your office. You can do whatever, and then we get them on camera. We get them talking. We get the very best sound bites, asking the very best questions. And this is when you use live material, is at the far end. You don't use it at the front end. You don't do company overviews at the front end. Your prospect is not interested enough to care at all about you yet. You need to get their interest up. You do that with animation first, and then you get to the end, you start doing live shoots type material, right? Where you can do case studies. You can do case studies animated too, by the way. We've done a number of very strong animated case studies. But you want to, but it's a good opportunity if you have the people willing to be on camera, put them on camera. Right, straight from the horse's mouth, where a person can see, because you can make up case studies, right? You can, it has a slight possibility of not quite genuine. But when you see a person say, "Here's what happened with us," and then the viewers, like, they're looking and they're going, "We're just like them. Interesting. We're the same size, we're the same type of company, and they had success there. Man, that could be for us." Now, keep in mind, This takes place in a sequence. You don't just bombard with testimonials out the gate. Testimonials and case studies are not your first firing ammo, right? They're your last ones. They're your push it over the edge. They're your they've been enlightened. They've had their questions answered. They've had their reservations handled. They've probably had a few calls with a salesperson. They probably have a proposal in their hands, and then you tip them over the edge at the end. And so that's when it's properly used. Hope this helps. This video ran a bit long, but this is types of videos and when to use them and how and why. Okay,